Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to the ZMS live stream. Tonight we've got Nopinz R3R versus OTR Black in a team time trial mini head-to-head showdown. Now this will be the second time I've covered one of these races. The other day we had OTR Black versus OTR Green. It was a bit of a OTR Black were far too strong for OTR Green, let's put it that way. But tonight it should be a lot closer and we're looking to a really good battle here. We know that Nopinz will want to put in a win, but OTR Black are going to have something to say about that. So, excuse me, it should be a really good race. Now, you can see from the profile, which is just coming up on screen, there's a couple of lumps which is going to suit the power riders, shall we say, of which there are a few in both teams. Now I haven't seen, I know the team members are for OTR Black, but I don't yet know who the team members are for Nopinz R3R. I will know them all personally because I do know I was a member of 3R for many years. And I, for one, am looking forward to this. It's going to be pretty close, I think. Now we're looking at the team. So we've got Gringo, Looker, Wilkinson, Brearley and Bard. So we got the big hitters out. Yeah, I mean, Matt, Steve Brearley is one of my favourite riders. Tom Wilkinson and Liam. The only one I'm not familiar with, I don't know if it's his real name, is G Gringo. Now, I know all the other riders very well, but G Gringo, is that somebody using an alias? I don't know. But this should be good. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this because I think the split times is going to be pretty close. 15 seconds to counting down. Let's see what happens at the start. And what we'll do is we'll be flicking windows between the two teams. We'll be showing them like they are at the moment, side by side, but we'll also be highlighting each team, and off we go. Now, the thing about team time trialing is you have to work as a unit, and it's something that needs practice. Now, I know for a fact that the Nopinz team do work on this particular aspect. You can clearly see that OTR Black are struggling in terms of a cohesive unit at the start here. They're getting together now. Hopefully they'll sort themselves out, but so are Nopinz. I mean, for such a well-drilled team, Nopinz is looking pretty ragged as well. They're coming together now nicely. I noticed there's 6 riders with Nopinz, and I thought this was a 5-man event, so not sure what it is with the 6 riders, but anyway, yeah, it's definitely 6 riders in the team. But let's have a look and see. Neck and neck at the moment. Neck and neck. So very little in it. And to be fair, neither team have really settled in yet. Although, to be looking at OTR Black on the road, they do look the better unit at the moment. I don't know if they're going. They're falling behind Nopinz, but Nopinz don't appear to be a very cohesive unit at this moment in time. I'm sure they've settled down. It always takes a little while to settle down, and what you have to remember as well, folks, is that virtually it's a lot harder. You know, riding on the trainer and doing a team time trial is a lot harder than what it would be in real life, because you have to try and judge your effort to match that of your teammates, and you're not all on the same equipment. Now they're looking the moment drilled unit now, aren't they? And don't get me wrong, a lot of these riders, they've ridden in some top level events, the Nopinz team, so they've got much more experience than the OTR Black, but I'm sure OTR Black are going to give them a good run. The key thing is that they have to try and work as a unit and share the workload. And look at OTR Black here, they're working really well together. They're looking like a well-drilled unit, really working well together. But you've got some really strong riders here, and I'm loving this. This is great. It's great to see. Now, one other thing to mention, even at this early stage, is that only the first 3 riders count, and it's the 3rd rider over the line. So the tactic should be to use your full team to push the pace along on the front, and then some of the I daren't say it, but I will. Some of the less stronger riders should do some of the pulling early in the race, and then obviously they can drop out towards the final stages of the race, having done the work. But they need to they need to be capable of pushing up the pace, and I'm sure both these two teams are well aware of that, and will use that tactic. We'll see in the second half, we'll probably see the odd rider drop off the back of the team. Although if they've been practicing this, they may well find they can stay together a little better. The other thing as well that you're gonna get is you're gonna get technicals and dropouts, and it happened in the first running that I covered. In fact, I think it was OTR Green only had 3 riders because 2 of them had technicals even before the start. You can have what we call a virtual puncture, which is a dropout, and that can put you out of the race as well. You can't get back in once you have a dropout, if it's a proper drop of signal. So there we go. Are we down to 4? Yeah, we're down to 4 riders here. I think we've lost. Oh, was it Keith? Yeah, I saw his wattage go to 0. Now that could be a technical, or it could just be Keith dropping out. But I don't think it would be Keith dropping out. I suspect that was a technical issue. Have we lost any of this team? We've gone down to 1, 2, 3. No, we're still 6 of the Nopinz team. Now, I'm pretty sure that this Nopinz team do have some sponsorship deal with Wahoo, so it could be that the majority of them are on Wahoo trainers, but they will certainly have practiced this far more than the OTR team. But the OTR team are giving them a good run here. There's not much in this. 200 meters maybe at the moment. But yeah, they're a well-drilled team. Well, both are now. I mean, they're looking smooth now. They're really getting into the groove and looking smooth. As we see, Neil has dropped off now, so we're down to 3 riders with OTR Black, which, to be honest, is not going to help them. 6 riders, as you can see with the Nopinz team, are going to be able to ride faster for the same amount of effort as 3 riders. That's just basic dynamics. Because they're going to be able to swap the leads and take advantage of resting and drafting, of which that's what the team time trial is all about. It's all about taking turns, your stronger riders doing the longer pulls, but it's all about the rest of the riders swapping over and getting some rest. Whereas free riders, yeah, you're not going to get as much rest, and you're going to have to work that little bit harder. Now you can see Wilkinson has jumped off the front here, and that's not a clever tactic really. I'm sure the guys behind, you can see they're all going into the red, so the guys behind are pretty keen on getting back on his wheel, but you've really got to be careful when doing that. I mean, yeah, it's a good way of getting your team to up the speed, but if you jump off the front like that, the riders behind can really struggle sometimes, and we call it burning matches when you have to close up gaps. And you've only got so many matches in your box, so it can be detrimental to make a gap and riders in your team have to close it. You don't see it happening you know, in the big team time trials like the Tour de France or such like. Excuse me. So what we're looking at now, we're looking at Nopinz with 6.5 kilometers completed and OTR with 6.4. So again, there's not that much in this. This is a pretty close run affair. I mean, if you look at this, if you look at the speeds of the teams, you can see that there's very little difference in speeds as well. I mean, obviously, you can't compare when they're on different terrain. Like Nopinz at the moment are on the slight downhill slope, 0.2. So you can't compare that speed with OTR Black when they're on the flat. But when they're both on the same slope, then that's the time to compare. Excuse me. And you can see that the speeds are pretty similar, but OTR Black are a huge can't get my words out. Huge disadvantage because there's only 3 riders, and all 3 have got to count, so they can't afford to leave anybody behind. So we're about a third of the way into the event now. We're going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be about a 30-minute event, I would have thought. I don't know the timings, so I couldn't even guess. But just looking at what they've completed so far, I would say we're looking at about a 30-minute ride. I don't see it going under 30. It'll be just over 30 minutes, I suspect, which is very fast compared to the first running that we covered. So they're not, and you can see from the red numbers that you can see on screen, what that basically means is that they're going above threshold. So they're really putting in big efforts here. And you can see from the power numbers, I mean, 484 watts there on screen. That's impressive wattage in a team time trial. And these 3 riders from OTR, James, Peter and Tony, you know, they're our flagship riders. They're working really, really hard as well. So what we got, 8.98, 9 kilometers done, 8.5, 400 plus meters difference at the moment. With over a third of the race gone. So 400 meters. It would be nice if OTR can peg it Let's go for a kilometre. Let's see if they can peg it to a kilometre. Now the whole race is 21 kilometres, the course, I believe, so as you can see, the Nopinz team now still a little bit ragged towards the end. Steve Brearley is a real workhorse. He gives absolutely everything. He's one of my favourite riders to watch, actually. A real workhorse, but he'll be the first to admit that the likes of Liam Bard up front are the next level. So and having a gap to close like this is going to really hurt. Now they may get back to the four riders in front are obviously setting a pace. They're not going to slow and wait for the two riders behind, I wouldn't have thought. And we may even see the four riders split into three a bit later on. Now Matt's trying to cross the gap to them, but because they're not slowing down, they're not waiting. It may be a tough ask to ask Matt Lucker and Steve Brearley to come back to them. Excuse me. I'm still full of cold, folks. This last few months seems to be constant colds. So there's the 10 kilometre split, which is not bad at all. I said about 400 metres. I wasn't far off. So 400 metres, give or take, well, 40 seconds, which equates to about 400 metres. That's not bad at all. That's within touching distance. There's them going under the halfway banner now, so it's just a shame that we've only got the 3 riders for the OTR Black team. But having said that, you can now see that even the Nopinz team are struggling. I mean, Matt's totally gone, Steve's off the back as well. So they're just going to ride and get home. They're just now finishing off. And S. Watts now, I assume that is another alias, so I don't know who that is. I think Gringo and Watts are 2 aliases, so I don't know who these riders are. But I have an idea who Gringo might be, but we'll find out later. But yeah, you've got the big hitters here, Liam Bard and Wilkinson. They're the big hitters from Nopinz, without a doubt. And these are the 3 that are going to bring it home. And they're pushing on quite well here. But, I mean, we're still only looking at 400 metres, which I think is very respectable from the OTR Black team. And we do know that these 3 riders from OTR are good climbers, so good strong riders on the climbs. As we watch, Watts has been dropped from the Nopinz, so it's down to 3 riders, and they've got to. I mean, I have to say, OTR are looking the better unit at this moment in time, because they're staying within half a wheel of each other. If you look at the Nopinz team, this is poor form in terms of team time trial, and the idea is that you're supposed to be within touching distance of the other riders. I mean, Liam's struggling to stay with these 2 up front, and that's not a good feel. And this is not criticising the riders, folks, at all. I mean, it is incredibly difficult to get this right. I take my hat off to any riders that take part in these team time trials, because it's a very difficult discipline and takes a lot of commitment and a lot of work. But these three from Nopinz are away. Look, they're well away now from the rest of the team. So they're going to take it to the finish, as OTR Black are obviously a well-drilled unit, are staying together. Now we've got a fairly steep downhill coming up, so it'll be interesting to see what happens on the downhill. Will the riders continue to put the power down? Will they try and take recovery? I mean, the sensible thing to do would be to try and really hammer it, and well, you can see all three of them there in the red. So they're certainly not failing for effort, the OTR Black team. Let's watch Tony just off the back here. Yeah, get back on. There you go. Looking really good. But Nopinz have now pulled out a bit of a gap, I think, because of the downhill, and so the gap has now gone out to what is it now? It's about 800 meters, maybe a bit more. And we're 2/3 of the way through the race. A little bit more for Nopinz, but 2/3 of the way through the race. So it's about in the last 5-6 kilometers that the riders really, I mean, they already have, but the riders really should be thinking about trying to up the pace if they've anything left to do so. In a team time trial, the idea being that you cross the line absolutely spent with nothing left in the legs. As I say, folks, I do apologise for my voice tonight. I'm full of cold, and it is causing me a bit of difficulty with the build-up and breathing. So now ZMS are going to be covering the the semi-finals and the final of this event, and I hopefully will be asked along for some more of the commentary in some of the other races. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little bit better than I am tonight, but I enjoy this format. It's a pretty nice race to commentate on, purely and simply because you're getting the side-by-side views that we've got at the moment on screen, and you can see in real time. I mean, it's now 1 kilometer difference, give or take, so it's 900 meters plus the difference between the two teams now, but you can clearly see the different tactics. And it's fair to say the Nopinz have probably got the stronger riders overall, but they're certainly not looking as well drilled as the OTR team. So I think if you were giving points out for style, the style points would almost certainly be won by OTR Black. But that's not important. The important thing is to get the win, and Nopinz, I think, are going to do that. I mean, Tom Wilkinson here looks way stronger than his fellow teammates, because he's constantly leaving them behind. So and you can only tell by looking at his output and figures maybe a bit later whether he's actually pushing on, which is what looks to be happening here. It looks like he's pushing on and then easing up to let them catch him. And again, that isn't a very good tactic. But I can't tell. I mean, I don't know what's going on in his pain cave on his trainer, but that looks to be what's happening on the road to me. Whereas the OTR team are looking a little bit more of a cohesive unit. But at the end of the day, it's the final time that matters, and OTR again, Nopinz are going to get the win here. I've no doubt about that. 3.6 kilometers to go as opposed to 4.4 kilometers, so 800-meter difference between the two teams, and that's going to prove significant, I think. We've got one more small rise to come for the OTR Black, whereas the Nopinz have just completed it. So yeah, we're going to see a little bit more distance between the two teams as well here. Now, one of the things I mentioned in the first broadcast was that you can see here that the Nopinz team, they have a rider on a different bike, Liam, than the rest of the team, and he's not wearing a helmet. And one of the things I mentioned was that I'd really like to see all the competitors taking part in these team time trials speaking with each other and all riding the same bikes and all wearing the same kit. And that goes for you too, OTR. Look at you, 3 different bikes. You know, you should all be wearing the same colour helmets, all be wearing the same colour bikes, using the same bikes rather, because it just looks more professional and more polished. But that's just me being nitpicky. But I think it would add to the spectacle if everything is coordinated and looks the same. I think it would just add to the spectacle. And certainly, I think, you know, if you go up a level with these team time trials and this catches on and we end up doing, you know, races which get viewed and streamed to more audiences or bigger audiences, then I think it's important that we have the look as well as the racing. Because ZMS, you can see from the footage here, crystal clear images, really good coverage, side by side here, really good coverage, and it's a very professional setup. And so my feeling is that the riders on the road should look professional too. So let's have you all in the same kit, same helmet, same bikes. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. So what we've got left, we've got 1.4 kilometers for the Nopinz team and 2.8. So yeah, I did say they would pull out a bit on that final climb, and they have done. So the gap's going to be around about 1.5 kilometers, which is probably a little bit more than well, it's definitely a lot more than I wanted to see, but it's probably a little bit more than we expected as well. But to be fair to this team here, while they haven't looked super smooth all along, they're looking good now coming into the finish. And at the end of the day, they've put in the power and the effort needed to take the win. And this is going to be a good win. They'll be pleased with this. Well, they've got to be pleased with it. I mean, this is a good time. I said 30 minutes and it's going to blitz 30 minutes. I thought they'd be close to 30. This is going to be a 28 minute ride, which is phenomenal. I mean, that's just fantastic riding. I think we're likely to see OTR coming in a couple of minutes later. So this is good riding. It's going to be a 28 minute ride. So well done, Nopinz. Nice to see some of my old teammates doing so well, and riding on RGT, I have to add. Put in a lot of work to get you across here. So what we got, 28.35 for the Nopinz. Let's switch over to our friends, the OTR Black team, and see how they're doing. Here we go, 1.4 to go, 28. So yeah, this is probably going to be a couple of minute difference here. Let's see if these boys can bring it home. I mean, you just know that they're going to give you absolutely everything. And I think they've done us proud. You can just see the red banner coming into view now. So they're going under the red kite, or the flamme rouge, whatever you want to call it. There they go. 1 kilometer to go. So 29 minutes. It could be a 30-minute ride. I don't think it's going to go out to 31 minutes. So a 30-minute ride. So they've kept this very respectable. And I'm not making excuses, but OTR, you know, are, how shall we say, a less professional team in terms of, you know, Nopinz have got a lot of sponsorship behind them, whereas OTR still in its infancy, growing. It's a very, very good team, lots of members, but they're going to need to up the game, I think, if they want to compete with the likes of Nopinz. But this is a very, very good effort, and I'm proud of the boys. Come on, stay together, guys. Let's have you all over the line together. And it is going to be a 30-minute ride, so well done. You kept it within. Come on. So who's going to be the last man over? 39. Well done, guys. Really, really good, that. I mean, yeah. Lovely race to watch. And there you can see 2 minutes, give or take. 2 minutes 4 seconds. So that was about right, given where we were earlier in the race. I think that's a very respectable effort. And OTR are only going to get stronger as well, the more they do this. So I've no idea when the next one is going to be, folks. No doubt Damon will get in touch with me and let me know. But I hope to see you again very soon on the ZMS live stream. And I'll sign off there. Say good night and thanks for watching. And stay safe, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.